Coming up on this week's Royal Exclusive, we look at Meghan's life as she turns 45. Will King Charles really join Prince Harry at the Invictus Games? Plus, which royals have topped the polls as Britain's favourite? Welcome to this week's show, where Meghan Markle celebrates her 45th birthday. But between putting jam on ice cream and jumping into a pool, is she as happy as she seems? Plus, Prince Harry is said to be desperate for King Charles to stand beside him at the Invictus Games in what could be the biggest sign yet of a royal reconciliation, if it actually happens. We'll also ask whether the King's soaring poll ratings prove he's quietly winning over the British public, even if William and Catherine remain the nation's favourite royals, and a new royal baby, with Princess Eugenie giving birth on Monday to a baby girl. I'm Matt Wilkinson, Royal Editor of The Sun, and joining me to unpack it all are royal journalist Phil Dampier and former Press Secretary to Queen Elizabeth II, Ailsa Anderson. Welcome to you both. Right, let's think about this, okay? Flower petals in the air. Let's celebrate with a new jar of lovely jam or spread. Meghan Markle was turned 45. She celebrated with a couple of Instagram videos and posts, which is her normal way, which we will discuss in a minute. But I want to get both of your thoughts. She's turned 45. She's mid-40s now. She's been out of the royals for 6 or 7 years. Where is Meghan Markle? Where is her life now? She's turning 45.
What do you think, Ailsa? I have my doubts about some of this, whether it's PR, slick PR, or whether it's genuine. It's very difficult to know because at the moment Harry seems to be trying to raise his profile back here, and that makes it difficult for her, doesn't it?
Yeah. Her life seems very much in the US at the moment, doesn't it? We didn't see her when she came over, whereas Harry is concentrating over here in the UK.
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised that she came over recently on this holiday when they went up to Scotland, to the Inner Hebrides. Apparently they cruised around up there. I never thought she'd come back to the country, to be honest. I've said that on many occasions. So I was quite surprised that she came over, met the King with the kids. All this business about the security, I think, was a bit of a smokescreen. But I don't think it changes the fundamentals over here. I don't think she's popular with the public. I don't think she'd go down very well if she met members of the public. And I don't think it's going to alter Prince William's attitude towards them both. But it's a step in the right direction in terms of a reconciliation with the King. But in terms of her career, I think that's still very much... Well, we've seen her programme in Australia, haven't we? But also in America. I don't see much of a future for her here, to be honest.
I think that's probably quite true, but I do think it is a step in the right direction to have that sort of meeting at Highgrove with the King and Queen. And also, it was almost a test case a bit. You know, would they have actually put anything out? Would they have taken some photographs and released them on Instagram afterwards? And they didn't. So I think these sort of little nuggets of maybe building the trust back up again might carry some weight going forward.
On a business side of things, I mean, is she successful? Is she a 45-year-old successful businesswoman now? She does have her products. She does, you know, we're led to believe they are selling. She does have things going on with Cookie Queens, which is going to come out soon with Netflix. I mean, is she happy, do you think?
I don't know if she's happy or not, but any money she's made will probably be wiped out by Harry losing his court case against the Daily Mail, I should think, because that's going to cost him quite a few million. So
it depends who's bankrolled him.
Well, with them, you know, money comes in and money goes out, doesn't it? You're never quite sure where they are financially. It's at one moment they're up, next moment they're down. But I think she's going to try other projects. I mean, I don't know how well this thing went down in Australia. As always, Harry had to get in on the act and call in on a video link or on his phone to sort of make an appearance. But I just don't know. I mean, did the jam go well? Did she sell lots of jam, apparently?
Well, I wonder, you know, would she have sold that jam if she'd been Meghan Markle, the actress, or is she selling it because she's HRH, you know, the Duchess of Sussex? Mm-hmm. You know, who knows? But I don't think I would spend that amount of money on a pot of jam or a luxury candle. I haven't got the salary for that.
That well.
What do you think she needs or wants for her birthday this year? And I'm not talking about gifts and presents. I'm maybe talking about direction or things for the future. What do you think Meghan needs to do now?
Well, I think any normal person would say that it'd be good if she managed to reconcile with her own father before it's too late. You know, I think any normal person would say, you know, what do you want? You've got financial things, you've got a family yourself. It would be nice to do that, but there's no prospect of that seemingly happening at the moment. There's no suggestion that she's going to travel to see him, which I think is very, very sad. Yes, we've now had this meeting with the King, but, you know, it doesn't mean that all problems have been solved overnight. So I don't know what she wants, really. I think sometimes she might wake up and, you know, completely different one day to another. I'm not sure. Sometimes she knows herself. You know.
Do you think she has any regrets, Phil? Or should have any regrets?
Well, I think they should have regrets, and I think sometimes in the middle of the night Harry must wake up and have a few regrets, and that might be why he started to try and, you know, come back here more often and, you know, have a reconciliation with his family. I mean, cynics will say that they're doing it for, you know, purely sort of commercial reasons or for, you know, for their own benefit. No, I think the fact that she can't seemingly bring herself to make it up with her dad is very sad and rather telling.
It is very sad. But of course, you know, families are complicated.
Yeah.
And sort of that trust with her father had broken down, you know, just before the wedding when he was arranged to have those paparazzi shots of him trying on suits.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, wasn't it? And he has apologised for it. I mean, to sort of hold that against him forever when he's, you know, recently been very ill and had part of his leg amputated. You think if that's not going to, you know, induce her to try and make it up with him, what would, you know? So it's I don't understand that bit of it. You know, they lecture everyone else about relationships and mental health, and yet they don't seem to want to make it up with him. So I just find that, and he's, you know, Harry, of course, has never met him.
Yeah.
So which I find very, very odd, you know.
Well, reconciliation with Thomas, I don't think will be on her birthday wish list. I don't think that's
I don't think
future.
at 45 that is her priority. But, you know, soon it could be too late, couldn't it? You know, whether they'll have regrets then, I don't know.
But definitely being involved with the royal family in some way. We discussed, you know, it was a couple of weeks ago now, did actually come over with the King. I mean, my suggestion was I wrote a little piece on my Substack earlier this week, and it was she needs money because she needs to sell. She needs this as ever product and a clothing line thing she's doing with the AI operation. You know, when she was in Australia, you could buy her clothes. That needs to work. She needs to earn money, and she needs friends. She needs good coverage. She needs people to like her.
And do you not also think she needs proper advisors? You know, I don't know who advises her at the moment, but, you know, she needs someone with a bit of gravitas to actually talk about, you know, the consequences of her going down one route and, you know, what's going to happen if she does do that. So I do think she needs some grown-ups in the room to say to her, actually, you know, Meghan, this is what you've got to do.
Perhaps she should go on Substack, Matt, like you know.
But
make some money out of it and get her message across on a daily basis, you know. So.
Oh, don't give her any ideas. I love her Instagram. I'm not sure if she listens, Ailsa. I'm not sure if she listens. I mean, it does appear to be, because Instagram, everyone looks happy on Instagram. Everything is rosy, everything's filtered, everything looks beautiful on everybody's Instagram accounts. But we have seen she celebrated with a birthday video. She was dancing in the... Well, there was a picture, and she was jumping into a swimming pool with some balloons. And then she was dancing in what appeared to be her kitchen. And in the background, you could hear Harry saying, "Oh dear." I mean, is he speaking for all of us here?
I can't say I've ever tried jumping into a swimming pool with a load of balloons, have you? I mean,
I'd like to see that, Phil. If you would do that for us, I think that'd be great.
Off, you, just as you're about to land in it. So they're always a bit contrived, aren't they? When you see these pictures of hers, they're always very, very contrived. You're always very controlled and... I don't know what message she's trying to send out with her, just that she's carefree and having a great time, I suppose, you know, and why not? Always used to amuse me that her birthday's the same as the Queen Mother, wasn't it? August the 4th.
Oh, my gosh, yes, yeah. I was more worried about the bacon cooking in the background and if, you know, who was looking after that and turning it around and, you know, making sure it didn't burn.
I thought she'd be vegan by now, to be honest.
Well, she also celebrated it with an as ever video marking her favourite ice cream sundae, which was raspberry spread, vanilla ice cream, shortbread and flour sprinkles. How's that for a birthday treat?
I think it'd make me want to vomit, actually, to be absolutely honest.
Very, very expensive. I mean, I read the other day that it's now costing something like £7 to have a flake, isn't it? To have a 99. And if you have 2 flakes, it's like £7 or something. So, you know, this ice cream's becoming ridiculous. How she can afford all that?
We mentioned about the contact with the royal family. Thanks, Phil. We mentioned about our contact with the royal family in the UK. Do you think that they don't post on social media anymore? So they need to only post social media messages for major milestone birthdays, I think, for non-working royals, if I'm right, Ailsa.
Yeah.
But they obviously they don't post on social media. Do you think there were any cards, phone calls, video calls from the King, from Camilla, from William, from Catherine, out to Meghan?
I think probably that's quite unlikely. Potentially the King. I can't see Queen Camilla doing that, and I certainly can't see William or Catherine doing any of that.
Message from the King or any card would be from the King and the Queen, I would have thought. I mean, having just met them, I mean, I was actually surprised that, as I think you were, that Queen Camilla actually met them. That did surprise me, but that shows, you know, that shows willing, that shows, you know, an ability to, not saying forgive necessarily, but to try and make things up. So having done that recently, I can see they might have sent a card actually and sent her a happy birthday, and it's all slow. It doesn't. There's no skin off anyone's nose, is it? So it's quite a sort of part of a slow process of slowly getting back to some sort of normality. But it's going to be a very long, hard road. And as I say, I don't think it's going to make any difference whatsoever in the near future to William and Catherine.
But I do think that meeting back in Highgrove, I would suspect that the King would have said, having Camilla present would be non-negotiable. This meeting is not going to go ahead unless Camilla was in the room with
Possibly.
them.
I mean, it's a good sign that nothing's come out so far, isn't it? I mean, obviously that was the key. If anything had come out, I mean, it would have been
Well, it would have gone
straight
back
away.
another,
It would have just got set it back, months if not years. But so far that's holding. But we await. They might not be able to resist it. So I'm sure a photograph would have been taken of them all together, just for the family's sake. Just for the kids. But we await to see what happens on that front.
Well, I'm trying, Phil, but I got in trouble last time when I did that, when I reported what happened behind closed doors. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut this time.
Yeah, well, your moles are too deep, aren't they?
You were talking about a long road back to reconciliation with the King. This story keeps on coming round and round quite a lot over the last year, and I do believe it. It's been reported by the Mail on Sunday last summer. I reported it in January. It's come out again with a Mirror this week, that Harry is his dream to have his father there in Birmingham, standing beside him at the Invictus Games. It's his big baby. It's his massive project. It has to succeed. It's so important to him. It's very important. He loves it as well. He's ingrained in his work. He wants the King. He's going to, at some stage, invite him. When that invite goes to Charles, should he accept? Will he accept?
I do think it puts him in a very, very difficult position, and I can absolutely see why Harry would want him front and centre there. It almost gives him, the authenticity and the recognition of all his, almost lifetime of work. To have his father, the King, standing next to him, and it also sort of signals a reconciliation even further than it has been to date. Whether the King goes or not, whether there's a manufactured event in his diary, which means he can't go to Birmingham, that remains to be seen.
Well, what you're saying there is beneficial to Harry.
Yeah.
Is it beneficial for the King to accept?
I don't think it necessarily is it? I mean, as you say, I think it puts him in a very, very difficult position. I mean, I'm sure Harry wants him to be there. Of course he does, And we've had big names before at these events in other countries, the Obamas, etc. But he'll want him to be there. I'm not exactly sure of the dates, but doesn't it coincide with the Queen's 80th birthday next summer? So
it does. I think Camilla's birthday is.
I don't know what's planned for that.
In the middle of it.
I don't know what's planned for that. Whether he might use that as an excuse not to go, and or would she go as well? I don't know. I suppose it's a year away, so a lot can change in that time. There might be more, they might be actually seen together in public before then. I don't know. That might be an idea if they're going to do it, rather than so it doesn't become a circus, detracting from the event itself. I mean, I
think it will anyway.
His trump card, hasn't it, the Invictus Games, because no one can really criticise it. It is a great event, and the veterans love it, and they'll never criticise him. But if everyone's going to focus on the relationship between the royals, it rather detracts from the games and the events.
But it will do. Of course it will do. People won't be reporting about the amazing work that the veterans are being involved in. It'll all be about the body language, where they're sitting, what they're saying to each other. That whole sort of thing will be micromanaged and looked at, and no one will say anything about the veterans.
I think if anyone's trying to, well, you know better than I do behind the scenes, Ailsa, with your experience, if anyone's actually been asked to try and sort of, coordinate this and orchestrate this, I would think that another occasion before then, when they're seen together, would be a good idea. I don't know, Christmas perhaps, I don't know, whether an invite to Christmas and they actually accept it.
That won't happen, Phil, because of William and Catherine.
No, I don't think it would happen, but they could turn up on another day when they're not there, I suppose, Boxing Day or something. I don't know, but I think another event before then, some sort of photo opportunity would be a good idea, because otherwise it's all going to be on the Invictus Games and it'll just turn into a circus, I think.
Would.
Yeah, like we had a couple of weeks ago. All sorts of information coming out. Some of it wasn't true, some of it was right, and it just turned into an absolute mess. I don't think the King would want to get involved in that kind of situation. No. Will he, won't he type thing.
But also it's another layer of stress for him where, when he's still having cancer
still having treatment. Yeah,
he
doesn't need the stress, does he?
Will the public accept it? Because that's one of the most important things they must be thinking about. If you're in there when you were press secretary at Buckingham Palace, if this kind of tricky invite came up, you'd have to factor in whether the public would agree with the King appearing with Harry.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's, you weigh up all sorts of concerns. to try and get to the right answer. And there have been occasions where we've had an awkward situation with an invitation, and we have looked at trying to suddenly put in an engagement into the diary, so we've got a reasonable excuse that, you know, the monarch didn't have to go to this engagement. So yeah, there are ways of getting out of things, but it's, you know, you can advise the monarch all you like. If he wants to go and stand next to his son at the Invictus Games, he will do that.
It's up to him, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's easy to get out of things. It's not so easy to get in them, is it? You know, include them when it's been a very difficult situation, but especially when, you know, probably the Queen and certainly William and Catherine are still very, you know, raw and sore, aren't they?
Do you think it's up to him though? Because I'm not entirely sure if the public will be happy. See, we've watched, you know, we haven't got short memories. We know what's happened in the last 6
Public
7,
are
8
divided,
years.
but I still think the majority of people in this country are very anti-Harry and Meghan, I'm afraid. I just don't think they'll ever forgive them for, you know, that famous occasion in the Netflix series when she bowed and rather sort of mocked the Queen. I don't think people ever forget that.
So what's the King got to...
I just don't think she'll be particularly welcome. But in the sort of cocoon of the Invictus Games, they'll probably be, you know, protected and admired by various people, and they will have their fans. But in terms of coming back and doing any kind of quasi-royal duties and meeting other members of the public here, I just think it's a non-starter.
What we're missing here with this whole Invictus Games invite, yes, it's going to come from... Well, Harry wants it to happen. The Invictus Games organisers are the one that send the invite. They always send to the head of state of the host nation, always to the head of the armed forces, which is the King. But what we're missing here is not just him with Harry, it will be the King with Meghan. She goes every single year. Would the public and William and Catherine stomach that?
Well, again, it's up to the King. But, you know, Harry has made such a great deal about security arrangements. Would he really suddenly backtrack and say, yes, Meghan can come with me? Potentially the children will be in the UK as well. You know, when he made such a massive sort of outcry about his security.
I mean, they met in secret, for want of a better word, at Highgrove. They went up reportedly for a holiday in a remote part of Scotland, you know, the Inner Hebrides, somewhere. A friend lent them a ferry. Someone who's still friendly with William, incidentally, a multi-millionaire hedge fund guy. And so they were able to do that. And in the Invictus Games, as I say, it's a bit of a bubble and you've got security there. So, you know, they would probably be OK there. But beyond that, I just don't see them mixing with members of the public. I think some members of the public would literally abuse them, you know. I mean, they would boo them, and we heard a couple of boos when they turned up at St Paul's Cathedral that time, didn't we? And if you know, that was a fairly sombre occasion. So in other occasions, I think there would be people out there who would really take it out on them. I'm afraid that, you know, rightly or wrongly, that is the level of you know.
The Invictus Games is quite a safe space because they're all surrounded by friends. It'll only be the media that maybe they aren't friends that turn up. I don't know. But Phil, just on Meghan and the King, if he was to go to the Invictus Games, I would assume Meghan, she always goes to the Invictus Games. Should he be appearing not just with Harry, but, you know, posing there with a picture, smiling or chatting away to Meghan, would that be damaging? Would that be the right thing to do?
I think it's in his nature to try and, you know, reconcile people, isn't it? I mean, I think he is a person who doesn't like division, and he would want to try and bring people together. So if she's there, I'm sure he would be seen with her. I don't think he would be sort of, no, I'll be seen with him, but not with her. I don't think he's like
and
that.
then that creates a story. If he's not seen with her, you know, King snubs Meghan.
It's got to be all or nothing. So I think he would be inclusive, and I think he would, you know, he would meet her, of course, but the big question is whether he's going to go in the first place. Yeah. And a lot can, let's be honest, a lot can change between. It's a year away. We don't know about his health. We don't know about whether Harry and Meghan are going to come back anymore. Anything can happen, couldn't it? So it's an impossible question to answer at the moment whether he will go.
Well, I'll just counter it. It's not about the story or how we project it. It's what's right. What's the right thing for the King to do? You know. So we'll have to wait and see then, Ailsa. Let's stick with the King.
I don't think we know what the right thing is. As we said, it's up to him, isn't it?
It is up to him. And
if he thinks that support for the veterans, you know, and this is an opportunity to try and build bridges, then, you know, he will make that decision. But he'll be advised by people, and obviously he's losing Sir Clive, you know, so he's going to have new people advising him. So that, I mean, that might, I don't know if you were going to come onto this, but he's leaving. I think that's probably Harry's probably pleased about that, isn't he? They're not best of friends, you know, that might ease the situation. Depends on the attitude of whoever takes over.
And the King is head of the armed forces.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
It's almost like a natural fit for him to go and attend something like that.
Yeah.
I can't wait. But no, we covered Sir Clive last week. Sir Clive Alderton, Private Secretary, has left. He's retiring at 60. But obviously, Harry was not a massive fan. He used to call him the Wasp, and I think thought that he was. So we could have a kind of change in the relationship between Buckingham Palace and Montecito. We're going to have to watch that space. He's still around till next year. But look, King Charles, we've been talking about quite a long time. I think he's doing a cracking job. And I'm an easy critic. If someone's doing something bad, well, like we all we can start complaining and saying this person's not doing a good job. But I think the King's doing a good job. And I think the public, according to this latest poll, agree with me because he has scored his highest recording support from Britain since his coronation. A poll has revealed 68% believe the King is doing a good job. Is he?
Absolutely 100%, in my view. I think he really is. I mean, he really did hit the ground running when he became monarch. He did 2 spectacular overseas visits. You know, we can never forget his state visit to the United States, you know, and balancing that incredible, difficult tightrope with dealing with President Trump. And yet he pulled off a massive coup in that. I don't think any UK politician could have delivered a visit like he did. And he is undergoing cancer treatment still. He's got the added concern and stress with his younger brother, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, and his estrangement with his youngest son. So I think people's sympathy really do lie with him, and I think he's doing an incredible job.
Yeah, I think the public have rallied round and they like to support the monarchy, don't they? And that they know that he's been ill, they know that Catherine's been ill, so that double blow, I think people want to support them. And, as you say, he started brilliantly. I mean, when he first took over in the first couple of days after the Queen died, it was, he's, really is taking like a duck to water. Yeah. And then, of course, a couple of years later, we have this dreadful news about the cancer. But he seems a lot better. To me, he looks a lot better. He seems to be really enjoying meeting members of the public, doesn't he? He seems to want to get out there and, cover all parts of the kingdom. I'm sure there'll be other foreign trips soon. I don't know what's in the pipeline, but, I mean, he still hasn't made a state visit to Canada, has he? Jamaica, no. He's still head of state in all these places. So he'll want to go there if he can, if his health will let him. And he's doing a great job. I mean, as you say, that American trip, I mean, to sort of charm both sides of Congress, and they all went away, Democrats and Republicans, thinking he'd said the right thing. I mean, who else could...
How many standing ovations? Was it 11? Yeah. I mean, absolutely extraordinary.
Well, they give anyone standing ovations out there, don't they? But I mean, he did do a great job, and I think he's... at a time when, prime ministers are coming and going every 5 minutes, this is the one stable thing that people look to, the monarchy, isn't it? This is the advantage of it, in my opinion, that that when politics is is very messy, you've still got something to sort of unite the country. Yeah.
I was in that room when when he was doing the speech, and when I was keeping a tally of how many. I think it was 12. I think it was a dozen. We couldn't work out if it was 12 or 13 because there was one when he came in. There was groups. But no, if you look back at what he's actually done since he's become king. He's evicted Harry from Frogmore. He's revealed his tax last month, the first monarch to do it. He's stripped Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor of his titles and kicked him out of Royal Lodge. No one could do that for years. Not just Australia, not just America once, but twice, because he charmed Trump when he came to the UK. Australia, and with the way he's dealt with cancer, and probably missing a bunch. He was the hardest working royal last year. Are you surprised? You mentioned about taking a duck to water, because when the late Queen came in, it's like, how could you ever succead after coming after such a totem of monarchy like the late Queen? Are you surprised the way he's managed it?
I'm a little bit surprised, actually. I thought she would be an impossible act to follow, and I think he's done as well as he possibly could have done under the circumstances. I mean, you talk about the engagements. I mean, obviously he sometimes does 4 or 5 engagements in one day when he's doing investitures, and then he meets somebody. It all goes down as a job. So it's not actually out and about, possibly as much as someone like Princess Anne, who works very much, under the radar, doesn't she, a lot of the time? Although I think people now are starting to appreciate the work that she does. So yes, he does top the charts in terms of engagements, but and considering his health, I think he's done as well as could be expected. I mean, it's what more can you ask, really? And
I wonder if he thinks, he's sort of, he was the longest serving, king in waiting. He wanted to make an impact because he didn't know how long he's going to be on the throne, obviously with the cancer diagnosis as well. So he really wanted to, he wanted to have a legacy. He really wanted to do good. And I think it comes from a genuine place. I don't think he's just out there to, tick the boxes. I think he genuinely cares about what he's doing, and he really does want to, he did hit the ground running, and I think he wants to make an impact and leave a legacy.
I mean, cynics and Republicans will say that, things like revealing the tax and dealing with his brother have been forced on him, and he's had to do this and had to adjust to circumstances. And, there might be a certain case for some of that without that scrutiny, he wouldn't have acted. I mean, what fascinates me now is what he's going to do about the line of succession. Is he going to take Andrew Mountbatten Windsor out of it, and indeed his heirs? I mean, because now with Eugenie giving birth again, we've got quite a few people that could be stripped out if he makes that nuclear option. But
I'll tell you, we'll talk about that later if you like when we get onto. We'll talk about Princess Eugenie's baby, and we'll delve into that in a minute. But on the King, 68%. I mean, politicians talking about republic like a president, would dream of getting 68% backing.
It's very high, yeah.
Let's talk about the future. Prince Louis. Is there anyone in Britain or the world that didn't smile or was happy or grinned when they saw little Louis wearing a bucket hat at the Glasgow Commonwealth Games? It was a surprise to see him there. It was only his second public engagement. In his 8, so in his short life. I think there was one big help out during the coronation just over 3 years ago. Were you glad to see him, or should we see more of him?
I thought he's so adorable. Honestly, he's the gift that keeps on giving, isn't he? I mean, my eyes, when I see the 3 children, I look at him to see what antics he's getting up to, and he's the cheeky chappy. I think the nation have taken him to their hearts, and they just adore him. I just think it's lovely seeing the family together. And clearly, and the first time in Scotland that they've all been together on an engagement. So honestly, it warms the heart.
He's the joker, isn't he? He's the joker in the pack. But it fascinates me, as you say, seeing all 3 of them together, because, I mean, Charlotte's the one that really impresses me. I mean, I think George looks like he's slowly coming out of his shell. I've thought over the last few years he looks quite shy and not particularly confident. Looks like he's sort of a bit worried about, his future and what he's going to have to do. But he seems to be sort of loosening up, and we've seen him at sporting events and seen him at football matches with his dad, and he's loosening up. But Charlotte, to me, looks like she's going to be an absolute star. I mean, there was one picture up in Glasgow where she was sort of like that, looking at Prince Edward, and it was almost like she was the adult and he was the child, and it was and really sort of looking at him as if to say, yes, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there. So she looks a bit like the Queen when she was a child, and Churchill said he'd never seen anyone so mature for their age. I mean, she looks very mature for her age, I think, and very, very bright. So it's great to see them out and about, but if they're not going to overdo it, are they? They're going to protect them, and have them, on these sort of occasions where it's sporting events and they're comfortable, but not overexpose them too quickly. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. William and Catherine are obviously slowly. They understand that there's interest in their children and they will have big jobs in the future. But what are the pitfalls? Because we want to see them every week now, don't we? What are the pitfalls here for the Wells family and Louis?
Well, they don't want them overexposed. As Phil's just said, it's taken some time for George to actually sort of find his feet and come out of his shell a bit. What you don't want is to knock that confidence out.
I think going to Eton will be good for him.
Yeah, but by too much exposure. And they are very, very protective. So I suspect we won't see any images of the family probably until September now. I think they'll keep them out and give them the most normal upbringing and summer holidays like everybody else. So I suspect we won't see any images of them.
I mean, Harry used to complain about intrusion and his mother being hunted and people taking pictures of his mother and remembering her in tears and stuff as a young boy. These are the kind of pitfalls I'm talking about. Are the children going to have that childhood that their parents want them to have?
I think being at Eton's going to help George, because he's fairly protected there. I mean, William and Harry were pretty much left alone there. I mean, there were a few paps hanging around selling photographs to foreign magazines, but the British press basically left them alone. They're going to make friends there. They're going to have friends there that they already know, probably, or he's going to know. So I think that's going to be the making of him. And
their parents, his parents are 5 minutes down the road. I mean,
he can always go home to mum if there's a problem. So he's 13 now. He's going to have a few years there, and I think that's really going to mature him. And there'll be a lot of interests there. I think he can get involved in the cadet force if he wants. And all sorts of sporting things and drama or whatever, and I think that's really going to sort of bring him out.
Yeah, and he'll find his feet.
Yeah. I think they'll probably look for a different school for Charlotte. I mean, some of these schools they've been looking at recently where people were speculating that they were looking for George. I think some of those are looking for Charlotte, possibly go to Marlborough or possibly go to, I forget the name of it now.
Oundle.
Yeah, school up north, yeah. So that might be nice for her, you know.
Do you think Louis is aware of? Do you think 8 years old? Do you think he's aware of not his adulation, but the interest that the public have in him?
I think he's becoming.
There must come an age where it suddenly hits them a bit like a ton of bricks. You know, who am I? You know, I'm this famous person for a reason. You know, it's worse for the heir to the throne, isn't it? You know, for George the number one.
But I think, yes, I do. And I think, you know, I've got kids. If someone is laughing at your jokes and when you're playing up, they're going to play to the crowd. So I suspect, you know, he's seeing all this attention. He thinks, well, I'll carry on. I'll crack on and carry on and do this. So I think he is aware of it.
But there is a stage of, like, we just need to be wary they are children, and we need to let them. They're not there for our entertainment. You know, they've got important jobs in the future, but at the moment it's a family. But we do like seeing them, and it is nice. We did see a picture of a new member of the royal family this week. Doesn't have a name yet as time of filming, I believe. This might change in a couple of days. Princess Eugenie has given birth to a baby girl. It's her third child. She weighed in at £6 9 ounces. But the interesting thing here, Phil, is that she was born in a hospital in Lisbon, Portugal.
Yeah, well, it's starting to become a pattern now, isn't it? So, because Lilibet, Harry and Meghan's daughter, of course, was born abroad in California. So now we've got another one in Portugal. So they spend a lot of time out there. At least he won't be, you know, the child, she'll be able to jump the queues, won't she? If she gets a joint passport, you know, she won't have to wait at the airport when she's older. No, but putting flippancy aside, they'll be delighted to have had a daughter having had two sons. It's quite interesting, actually, because for years and years, the royals only had two children, didn't they? That was very much down to Prince Philip. Having had 4 children himself, he got very, very concerned in the 60s and 70s about overpopulation of the world, and he thought that was the biggest threat to them. I mean, funnily enough, it's now gone quite far the other way. In quite a few countries, the populations are falling, but this was something that he was very, very concerned about, that it was ruining the habitat for animals and his involvement with the World Wildlife Fund, etc. So he always encouraged his children. They only had 2 children. Princess Margaret's children only had 2 children, and that was the norm. And now it's all been completely broken, with William and Catherine having 3, Zara and Mike Tyndall having 3, and now Eugenie. So, but of course, it's we're all interested in the grandparents. When Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and the lesser spotted Sarah Ferguson going to see the new arrival? Are they going to go out to Portugal? Are they going to bring her over here? It's watch this space.
Well, there are implications, because the daughter is 15th in line of succession to the throne.
Yeah.
And you touched on it earlier, Phil, whether the king will one day strip Andrew. I mean, if he gets charged and goes to jail, then, I mean, look, you're going to have to. But will the king strip Andrew from his position 8th in line to the throne? What would be the implications for the rest of his family?
Well, who does that? Is it the king doing it, or is it government? Is it legislation that has to be put in place for the line of succession to be altered?
I think it has to go through legislation, because obviously you've got to consult other countries as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's got to come from him, hasn't it? If he, ultimately, if he doesn't want it to happen, it won't happen. But it's a big decision to make. I mean, I was astonished when I read this child will be 15th in line to the throne. I mean, because it means that Prince Edward's, he's going to go down one, isn't he? He'll be 16th. Then they've got his children, which means poor old Princess Anne's now down to hardest working member of the royal family. She's down to 19th now. I think it's 19th or 20th or something. So it's quite incredible how many children there are now, high up in the line of succession, and most of whom are never going to be working royals. Yeah. So it's quite strange.
Could you see Andrew being removed from the line of succession one day?
Yes, absolutely, I can, and I think that will clearly have a knock-on effect to Beatrice and Eugenie. But I think
they will be as well.
Yeah, I do. Even though they're still princesses and they've still got their HRH titles.
Councillors of State.
And Councillors of State. So I do think there will be a question mark about whether they keep their line of succession. But then it depends on sort of whether the police will actually charge Andrew. I mean, that's still ongoing. We don't know how long that's going to last for. No. That investigation could go on for
certainly if
years.
He's convicted, it's going to be very difficult to keep him, isn't it?
Yeah.
If he's not charged or he's found not guilty in a court, he could turn around and say, I'm completely innocent.
Yeah. Which, of course, he's maintained throughout this whole process.
What makes you say that, so unequivocally solid there than when you said that you think Andrew will ultimately lose his line of succession?
Because there's no way back for him. So really, what is the point of keeping him in the line of succession? He's never going to be monarch. He's never going to be a working member of the royal family again. This is where he is. So what is the point of him remaining in the line of succession.
It's not a punishment, just a fact that there's no need for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, then what's the point of the 15th? What's the point of Lady Louise and James Viscount?
Well, that's a very good question. I can see that argument. I mean, some people say this online. Oh, you people are in favour of the monarchy, you know, but you also want to strip him. You know, well, once you start doing that, you might as well take out Harry because he's decided to leave. Take out his children, and then Peter Phillips has never been a working royal. Take it. I mean, before you know where you are, you could making an argument for taking virtually everyone out. And then the whole thing starts to collapse. So it is very difficult. I tend to veer towards the fact I think he might take Andrew out, but not Beatrice and Eugenie. Because I think once you start taking them out, it does look like a bit of a domino effect. And
he did keep their York titles,
what's the point in... Sorry?
He did keep their York titles, didn't he? Allow them to keep their York titles.
I think he'll just take him out, personally, but time will tell.
Also, I think it will depend on the police investigation and what they uncover, and if they uncover any sort of further allegations involving the whole York family, then of course that might have consequences.
And Ailsa, you've already done the bit to me that I always have to do, where of course Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor isn't here to defend himself, but he has always maintained his innocence of all the allegations made against him, or the ones that have been put to him. Well, let's move on. Should we have a bit of fun?
Yes.
Right.
Haven't we been having fun?
I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people search for the royal family on Google, or there are other search engines, but search on the internet. So luckily, we have delved into the world of online, and we will attempt to answer these questions as best we can between us. Right.
And we haven't seen this before. Tell your viewers that we haven't seen them.
We haven't seen these questions before.
He's got his little box.
So we've got a little box, says Royal Exclusive on it. Isn't that cute? No expenses spared, no expenses spent. And I open this up, and we'll take it in turns. I'll pass it around if I can actually open it up. I'll ask the first question to you two because you are the royal experts. This is what people have been asking online, and they need their questions to be answered. Oh, wow, it's a dark one.
Are we going to be blindfolded for this?
Are British royals embalmed? That's what apparently people are searching for online.
People need to get out more, don't they?
Do we know?
It's a very good question, isn't it?
I don't know what the law is about people who... I suspect yes, only because that's
purely for
normally what happens, isn't it? When people die.
They wouldn't be any different from anyone else, would they? So I suspect the answer is yes.
So not just everybody, not universal, but yeah, of course, if they...
Yeah, I would say yes. You with me?
Who would be Googling that?
I don't know. We failed the internet
Mad.
search. Ailsa, would you like the honour of doing the next question?
Ooh,
you can read out to everybody.
OK.
Make it an easier one.
Oh, will Camilla have to curtsy to Kate when William becomes king?
Well, you're the expert on that.
I'm told no. I'm pretty sure no. I don't think... Camilla won't have to curtsy.
Well, I don't remember the Queen Mother
curtsying
to...
I
know this is a thing that's been chatted about the last... people have been talking about this for a long time.
I can't see that happening. I mean, she'll be, you know, hopefully way into her 80s, 90s or what have you. She'll be the sort of, you know, Queen Mother type figure. And I don't remember the Queen Mother bowing or curtsying to...
the Queen.
To the Queen or to her or to Charles, you know, it's all very much, you know, kissing on the cheek and that's it. Yeah. I don't think so.
But Catherine curtsies to Camilla when they meet each other, when I've seen them and to the King. Or maybe it's because the King's there, but I'm pretty sure that Camilla will not.
It's a different situation though, isn't it? You know, we're talking about, you know, a Queen. I mean, you know, well, I'm going to go there. It might happen the other way around, mightn't it? You don't know, but anyway, that. It's difficult question. They seem to be sort of involving death, these questions. Embalming and...
Go on, you have a happy one.
I'll try. I won't look at it. I'll try. Can the British royals marry Catholics? Well, yes, they can now because the law has been changed. They couldn't until recently.
Well, they could, but they just came out of the line of succession.
Come out of the line of succession.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to keep this over here?
But
now they can. Peter Phillips married a Catholic, didn't he? Autumn, she changed her religion. To be fair, didn't she?
She did, and of course Prince Michael of Kent. That's why he was out of the line of succession.
So people have done it, but they've had to alter their circumstances. But now they won't have to because the law's been changed.
Yeah. And Catherine Kent became a Catholic.
Yes.
Was this the Order of Succession? I think there's an Order of Succession Act, wasn't there? And I hope I'm right, because I'm delving back into it. Was it just after or when Catherine and William kind of expecting their first child, or was it before their marriage?
No, it was part of the coalition government, wasn't it?
Right.
Nick Clegg, who was the one that pushed it through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so it was
think
around about that time. All right.
Thank,
God, we're good.
thank goodness.
We're good. Shall I do one more?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, we'll pass it back to Ailsa, then we'll
Ailsa,
go
yeah.
back in a circle.
It's good fun, isn't it?
You can play this at home.
Yeah. Royal exclusive. You should market this, mate.
Oh, no.
What do the royals say instead of toilet?
I think
That's a royal flush, is it?
it's a royal flush. You might correct me, because you've been in Buckingham Palace a lot, many more times than me, and probably seen all the royal family toilets. But is it loo and lavatory? I believe it's loo or lavatory.
Lou, I have heard members of the royal family say.
Have you heard a member of the royal family say they go into the loo?
Yes. Yes.
You could never
I have.
actually.
It
was always said.
I
Wasn't
didn't
it?
go with them, but I have heard them say it.
It was always said that you couldn't imagine members of the royal family going to the
The
toilet,
amount of
wasn't
time,
it?
I have to say, every time I used to do a recce before a royal visit, the first thing that the host organisation would show us would be the loo.
Yeah.
Always.
Does
And
that, that meet with your approval?
Yeah, always. And I'd say, I won't put a media sort of pool in here, but it's always the first thing they were most concerned about was the loo.
Throne.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
The throne.
Thank you for that.
Right, one more maybe?
Do you want to have-
One more, right. Oh. Can British royals be prosecuted? Well, we're
We'll
about,
wait and see.
We're about to find out. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, police still investigating it, thought to be going on for about a year, the investigations. And we will see whether he gets charged and appears in court or not. It's an extraordinary story if it comes to fruition. I still have my doubts as to whether it's actually going to happen, but I believe it when I see it. But if he does get prosecuted, goodness only knows what's going to happen.
And I think
Who
he'll
was the
be
last royal to be prosecuted then before Andrew?
Princess Royal. I was there in Slough Magistrates Court.
Lost control of her dogs, didn't she?
And did she plead?
She did.
Pleaded guilty, yeah.
Yeah. Again, we had to recce the courts beforehand and look at the jails downstairs just in case they pushed her down.
Was it a
Really?
cyclist they attacked, was it, the dogs?
No, it was children. It was a child in,
in a park.
Windsor Great
In
Park.
Windsor Great Park,
Sorry. You had to check the cells?
Yes, just in case she was sent down.
That could have happened?
We checked the cells.
Wow. What, for security reasons? To see if there was any criminals down there?
There were a few.
Yeah, exactly.
Good story.
That's astonishing.
Page
And
lead.
were they suitable?
They were basic, Matt. They were basic. Not quite what she was used to.
Right,
let's say.
but she didn't have to go to any
No.
of these cells?
No,
Okay.
no.
I
But
think she
was,
got a fine, didn't she?
She did.
Yeah.
She did.
Oh, so that's one of the greatest revelations you've ever come up with. You had to check the cells in case Princess Royal had to go there.
Did she go to look at them herself? Or?
No. No.
Have you been to many police cells?
I've been to a few, thank you.
This press conference is over. Okay. Oh, apparently, I'm pretty sure the king cannot be prosecuted. He's the one royal, or the queen.
No, he's
Well, he's the crown, isn't he? So you can't have the crown versus the crown.
Courts, yeah.
Yeah. So should we do one more?
Go on, you can do
I
one.
think we're
No, I did
enjoying
last
this.
No, Matt hasn't done
I'll
one.
do the final one, shall I? I'll come all the way full circle.
Matt's having a nice time now.
I'm having a lovely time, yeah. Unfortunately, Phil's put some of them back in, which is...
Phil!
Well,
Have to make sure I don't get the same
You
one.
said that was the last one.
Oh, here's an interesting one. People have been Googling this as well. Can British royals run for office?
No.
Well, when...
They don't vote. They haven't got the vote, have they? Or the monarch hasn't got the vote.
No, but, I mean, they appear in the... They can be in the House of Lords. Duke of Edinburgh,
Yeah.
I think he did make a speech once, didn't he, in the House of Lords? Or he certainly has been in the House of Lords. And then I think he stopped... Am I right in thinking he stopped going? But he was entitled to go there, wasn't he?
I think a bunch of the royals were peers. They were allowed in the House of Lords.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's not holding office.
That's not the same as holding office. I think they would have to, literally bring themselves completely out of the royal family if they were going to try and become prime minister or something. And if they were that way inclined, But hasn't happened, has it?
No.
But it couldn't happen while they were working as royals. I wouldn't have thought.
And of course, the king can't because he doesn't even have a vote.
I mean, whether somebody like Zara or Peter Phillips or someone who's never been a working royal, whether it's a very good question actually. Whether it's excellent questions these, aren't they?
Yeah, I think protocol.
But a bit too good because we don't know the answer.
Yeah, I think protocol is like no, but I don't think there's anything stopping them. I'm pretty sure there's nothing stopping them, but of course they're not going to do it. Here's just one final question before we move on to our final topic. If, let's say, Prince William or Charles ran for Prime Minister or President, say if we worked out that they can actually run for office, which I think they can, do you think either of them would be more popular than the current crop of British politicians that have been going for Prime Minister?
I think
yes.
Well, they would to start with, but then, like all politicians, their popularity would start to plummet when it comes to the reality of the job, I think. I mean, they're both, for want of a better word, I would say that the King and Prince William are both quite woke. I mean, they're quite sort of to the left of centre in their views, aren't they, really? I would say generally speaking, I'm not saying that they're sort of, raving communists, but I mean, they tend to be sort of...
centrist, Phil.
Well, slightly to the left of centre, I would say, with some, certainly with green issues and certainly with
environment, yes, but they both enjoy hunting. They both enjoy shooting.
Yeah.
They still maintain that sort of, country sort of nobility lifestyle. So, yes, I agree with you in some aspects, but not in all.
Right, we're just going to finish off with our quickfire questions, OK? So, let's say quickfire, so we don't have to discuss as in detail as we went through for our viewers there. But after Meghan put jam on ice cream this week, what weird food combination do you like?
What weird food? You go for I can't.
All right, I love mince pies with a slice of cheddar cheese on top. Absolutely delicious. So a bit of sweet, a bit of savoury.
Warm mince pie?
Maybe two, depending on how I feel.
Oh, no, warm.
Oh, warm. Oh, God, yeah. Really lovely warm. Not too warm, not when it leaks out of the pastry case, but warm with a slice of cheddar.
I am a big Marmite fan, which is why some people...
Think of you are.
Some people hate me and some people love me and some people hate me. But it's one of my favourites. I have it every morning. And so I think I'll try and experiment with that and try it with something a bit different, like one of your expensive ice creams or something. Or see how it goes. You can get a Marmite ice cream, can't you, I think?
Probably.
Deep-fried Marmite
crisps.
Yeah.
Prince Louis wore a bucket hat at the Commonwealth Games, but what other 90s fashion should he bring back?
Well, I don't know what the fashions were in the 90s.
Grunge. Quite a lot of grunge.
Yeah, he could do a grunge.
Quite a
he
lot
could have baggy trousers, and he could have
ripped jeans,
ripped jeans, and he could be doing a bit of rapping, and he could have a grunge hat, and
Noel Gallagher Parker.
Noel Gallagher, he looked good in that. Yeah,
bit of grunge.
Get the Parkers out. Yeah, I used to wear a Parker when I was a kid.
Did you?
When I was a teenager, yeah. Mod, no, a mod rather than a rocker.
You'll have to bring those pictures in next time, Phil.
Did you have a?
I've already destroyed them.
Did you have a skinhead? Did you have?
I was veering towards being a skinhead.
Did you have any piercings?
No.
And finally, it's Meghan's birthday, so what should Harry get her as a gift?
Well, I'm tempted to say a mirror, but it's a bit unfair. But I'm sure that he's already given her. I'm sure that this recent family meet-up with the King, I'm sure that a photograph was taken. I'm sure they were sworn not to release it, but I'm sure they took one in private. So I'm sure a nice framed picture frame.
I think a new Netflix series. That's what she would like.
Can money achieve that? Could Harry get that? It's always the last question. It always causes us controversial answers, but I enjoy it. Thanks, guys. We've been through loads today. It's been absolutely brilliant. Everyone, who says it's quiet over the summer? There's still loads of royal stuff to talk about. Great. Thanks for coming along. Right, that's all we have time for on this week's Royal Exclusive. Thanks to my guests, Ailsa and Phil, and thanks to you for watching. And as always, remember to comment as well as subscribe to us here on our Royal Exclusive YouTube channel for the latest royal news. We will see you next week.